Let's get something straight. Women don't miss you when you're still chasing them. They miss you after you stop caring. That's right, not when you send long texts, not when you double check if she's okay, and definitely not when you're still giving her the attention she hasn't earned. She starts missing you when your absence is louder than your presence ever was. You see, most men have it backwards. They believe that the more effort they show, the more a woman will appreciate them. But here's the harsh truth. Desperation is not attractive. Presence means nothing if it's always available, and a woman can't miss what's constantly in her face. Stoicism teaches us that emotional control is power, not just power over yourself, but over how others perceive and value you. When you detach, when you walk away, when you create space, that's when the shift begins. That's when she notices the silence. That's when her mind starts wandering. Why hasn't he called? Is he really done? Did he move on that fast? It's not because she suddenly realizes she loves you. It's because you've created emotional scarcity. Something she took for granted is no longer there. And that's when missing you becomes real. Not because of love, but because of the void your discipline left behind. This video is going to break down exactly when a woman starts to miss you, based on Stoic principles, psychological patterns, and real emotional triggers. Not fairy tales, not pickup lines, real dynamics that women don't talk about, but act on every day. So, if you've been giving your time, energy, or heart to a woman who's starting to drift away, this isn't about getting her back. It's about reclaiming your power, your value, and your peace of mind. Let's begin. Let's kill the illusion right now. Most women don't miss you. They miss the attention you gave them. The compliments, the good morning texts, the constant validation, the comfort of knowing you were always there. See, attention is a drug, and once you give it consistently, she becomes emotionally dependent on it. Not on you as a man, but on the way you made her feel. That's a huge difference. When a man gives and gives without pulling back, the woman doesn't feel lucky. She feels powerful. Because your attention has become predictable, and anything predictable becomes boring. She starts believing she can have it whenever she wants. That's when she starts pulling away. She replies late. She stops appreciating the little things, and you start panicking. But here's the twist. Once you disappear, she doesn't miss the real you. She misses the ego boost you gave her every day. She starts wondering, why hasn't he texted? Did he stop liking me? Who is giving him attention now? It's not about love. It's about losing that steady source of validation. Let's make this real. Imagine a guy named Marcus. He's texting this girl nonstop, complimenting her, asking how her day went, telling her how beautiful she is every single day. At first, she enjoys it, but over time, she replies with dry texts. She starts ignoring the good morning messages. Marcus feels confused, so one day, he just stops. No message, no check-in, no likes on her Instagram. Silence. 3 days later, she texts him, "Hey, haven't heard from you. You okay?" That's not her missing Marcus the man. That's her missing the attention. Her ego noticed the silence, and now she's chasing the feeling she lost. Here's the truth. Most women don't notice your worth. They notice your absence. And when that absence includes the withdrawal of attention, that's when the game flips. You're not being cold, you're being valuable. And valuable men don't give their attention away for free. If you're still reaching out, calling, checking in, liking her posts, she doesn't miss you. Why would she? You're still present. She hasn't lost you, so there's nothing to long for. Missing you doesn't start when you're trying to fix things. It starts the moment you stop trying, when your silence becomes louder than all the effort you used to make. Most guys think, if I just show her how much I care, she'll come back. No, she won't. She's already emotionally full. You're still feeding her ego, still feeding her comfort, and people don't crave what they already have. Think about this. Attention is like oxygen to attraction. When you're always available, you're giving her unlimited air. She breathes you in without effort. But when you stop reaching out, you cut off the supply. That's when she starts gasping. That's when your absence becomes noticeable. That's when her mind starts racing with what-ifs. The only reason a woman starts to wonder about you is because she can't feel you anymore. She doesn't know where you are emotionally. She doesn't know what you're thinking. And that mystery, that unknown, is what sparks missing. Here's a clear picture for you. Let's say a guy named Darius was constantly messaging a girl he really liked. He'd send sweet messages, ask her to hang out, remind her how much he missed her. She gave short replies, sometimes none at all. One day, Darius just stopped. No messages, no story views, nothing. At first, she didn't care, but by the third or fourth day, she noticed. She checked his profile, wondered why he went quiet. Then finally, she messaged, "Hey stranger, where have you been?" That message wasn't about Darius. It was about her not being sure of his attention anymore. Here's the truth. Women don't miss presence. They miss absence. They miss the man who had the strength to stop chasing, the man who respected himself enough to pull back. So remember this. As long as you're reaching out, you're still available. And what's available is rarely appreciated. Let's be honest. If she knows exactly what you're going to do next, she's already bored. If she can predict when you'll call, when you'll text, what you'll say, how you'll react, then the mystery is dead. And once the mystery is dead, so is the attraction. See, a lot of men think consistency is what keeps her interested. But what they call consistency, she experiences as routine. And routine doesn't stimulate her emotionally. It puts her on autopilot. That's why the guy who was always there suddenly becomes invisible. Not because he changed, but because he became too familiar, too safe, too available. And when something is always available, it loses all urgency and value. What keeps a woman emotionally locked in isn't comfort. It's unpredictability, not chaos, not mind games, but just enough unpredictability to make her question things like, what's he thinking? Is he losing interest? Is he moving on? Why didn't he text today? When she starts asking those questions, she's emotionally investing. She's searching for answers, and that search is where desire lives. On the other hand, when she knows exactly how much attention she'll get from you every single day, you become a routine, a background noise in her life. She doesn't miss you, she expects you. And expectations don't trigger emotions. Uncertainty does. Stoicism teaches us emotional control, not only over our feelings, but over the impressions we leave on others. A stoic man isn't emotionally reactive. He's calm, centered, and just unpredictable enough to make people respect his space. And that includes women. When you pull back, pause, or simply change your rhythm, she notices. Not because you're playing games, but because you've disrupted her pattern. You've taken back your power. And in that space you create, that's where she starts remembering how it felt when your attention was there. That's when she replays old moments. That's when she starts to miss what she no longer has complete control over. So never be fully predictable. Because the moment she can forecast your every move, you've already lost the upper hand. Here's the part most men still don't get. Your words don't make her think about you. Your silence does. You keep texting. You keep checking in. You keep talking, explaining, proving you care, thinking that'll bring her closer. But let's be real. You're talking yourself out of attraction. You're over-communicating because you're afraid of losing her. And that fear, she can feel it. Here's the truth you need to face. When you're always trying to explain yourself, express your feelings, or fix what isn't even broken, you become background noise. You kill the suspense. You hand over your power without her even asking for it. But the moment you go silent, she starts thinking. She starts wondering. She starts doubting the very security she took for granted. That's the power of silence. It creates space. And that space, it triggers curiosity. Not because you're ignoring her to hurt her, but because you're finally focusing on yourself. Some of you need to hear this. Stop being so available. Stop explaining yourself. Stop trying to fix things when she's the one being distant. If she's pulling away and you're still chasing, you're teaching her that your time, your energy, and your emotions mean nothing. You're teaching her she can ignore you today, and you'll still show up tomorrow. You think love is proven by how loud you are with your effort, but a high-value man knows. Love isn't loud. Confidence isn't loud. Silence speaks for you. It says, I'm not chasing someone who's unsure about me. I'm not explaining my worth. You either feel it or you don't. I don't need to be seen. I am. That's what wakes her up. Not your poems, not your persistence, your absence. Because when you fall quiet, her mind gets loud. She starts filling in the blanks. She starts imagining. And imagination is far more powerful than anything you could say. So if you're the guy who's been overdoing it, hoping she'll come back, wake up. Silence isn't weakness. It's strength. It's the moment you stop reaching that she starts noticing. Let's break this down. When you pull back, you don't just walk away. You take something valuable with you. You take back her control over your emotions. And that is what she truly starts to miss. See, when you were always there, always reacting, always texting back within seconds, she had power. She could ignore your message today and still get a good morning text tomorrow. She could flake on plans and know you'd reschedule. She knew how you felt, what you'd do, and that you'd always be there. That's emotional control, and you gave it to her. But when you stop responding the same way, when your energy shifts, she feels it, and she doesn't like it. Not because she lost you, but because she lost that subtle grip she had over how you felt, what you'd do next, and how quickly you'd come running. And when a woman loses that grip, her mind spirals. Not because she's cruel or manipulative, but because women are drawn to emotional influence. When you stop reacting, you stop feeding that influence. And that's what flips the script. Now, she's the one checking her phone. Now she's the one replaying conversations, wondering if she said something wrong. Now, she's the one questioning her moves. She doesn't just miss you. She misses the version of herself that had control over you. That's the power of pulling back. It doesn't make you the bad guy. It makes you the man who values his emotional boundaries. And most men never learn this. They keep handing over emotional control like it's candy, hoping to be liked, chosen, or validated. But validation isn't attractive. Emotional independence is. When you stop letting her moods control your actions, she doesn't just respect you more. She starts chasing that emotional energy you once gave so freely, and when she can't access it anymore, she misses it. She misses you, not because you tried harder, but because you stopped trying at all. Remember this. If she once had emotional power over you, and now she doesn't, she'll feel that loss before she ever admits it. Let's get one thing clear. Most women don't miss you first. They miss the attention. But the moment you stop giving it, the moment she realizes you're not orbiting her anymore, her ego takes the first hit. At first, she'll pretend it doesn't matter. She'll act unbothered. She might even post more, go out more, or suddenly become very active online. That's her ego trying to stay in control. But deep down, something feels off. The man who once gave her reassurance is now silent. The guy who used to validate her, gone. And whether she admits it or not, that stings. Because here's what's really happening. She was used to being the center of your world, and when you suddenly shift that spotlight, her mind goes into chaos. Not because she loved you more than life, but because she didn't expect to lose your focus. That unexpected loss? That's where the ego gets bruised. Now she starts asking, wait, Ed, was he faking his interest? Did he find someone better? Was I not enough? And when a woman starts asking herself those questions, she begins to reevaluate you, not just as the guy who liked her, but as the man who might have been stronger than she realized, as the man she maybe should have taken more seriously, as the man who now seems less available, more powerful. You see, nothing makes a woman reevaluate you faster than when her ego doesn't get fed. When you stop validating her and start investing in yourself, you shift the power dynamic. And trust me, she feels that shift, even if she doesn't say a word. Here's the part where most men mess it up. They feel guilty. They come back too soon. They break the silence to check in, to be nice, or to see if she's okay. Don't. Let the ego hit do its job. Let her sit in that silence and feel your absence. Let her wonder what she lost. Because when her ego gets rattled, her emotions follow. And that's when she starts to truly miss you. When you're always around, always available, always there. She doesn't have to think about your value. Why would she? You're doing all the thinking. You're the one checking in, following up, reminding her how much you care. You're giving and giving. And she's just receiving. But the moment you create distance, real emotional distance, not just playing games, something changes. She finally has space, and that space does something powerful. It forces her to reflect, not just on what you gave, but on how much she actually took it for granted. See, women don't process your value while you're in front of them. They process it in hindsight, in your absence, in the silence. In the moments where you're not there to answer her questions, validate her looks, or chase her moods. It's in that distance where her mind goes, was he really that bad? Did I judge him too quickly? Damn, he actually treated me well. This is where you win, not by doing more, not by sending a long paragraph about how much you care, but by giving her space to experience what life feels like without you. Because here's the truth. Distance reveals more than presence ever could. When you're too close, people focus on your flaws. When you pull away, they remember your strengths. And if you were a man of real value, calm, grounded, confident, emotionally strong, that silence, that space, that distance, it haunts her. She starts to remember how you made her feel, not what you said, but how she felt in your presence. Was she secure? Did you lead with purpose? Were you calm in chaos? If yes, your absence now becomes powerful. But if you were needy, chasing, apologizing for being masculine, constantly seeking her approval, then distance just becomes relief. So here's the wake-up call. You don't create impact by sticking around. You create it by leaving a mark and stepping back. If you brought real value to her life, distance will make her realize it. And when that realization hits, that's when she starts to miss you for real. Here's something most men never realize. When you're always giving, always showing up, always available, she starts to take you for granted. It's not intentional. It's not like she consciously thinks, I'm going to stop appreciating him. But what happens is simple. When something or someone is always there, you stop recognizing their value. You expect them to stay in place. You expect them to keep giving. And that's exactly why she doesn't miss you when you're around. She's used to you being there. She's used to your calls, your messages, your attention. She's comfortable. She doesn't have to think about what would happen if you weren't there because you always show up. But the moment you disappear, even for a short time, something shifts. She starts looking around and thinking, wait, where is he? Why didn't he check in today? Why am I not hearing from him? And this is the crucial moment. She begins to realize how much she took you for granted. She realizes that you were always the one making plans, making time, making sure things went smoothly. And now that you've pulled back, she's left scrambling to pick up the pieces, to realize that maybe, just maybe, you were the one holding it all together. This isn't about playing games. It's about providing her with the space to recognize your value. And when she's suddenly without it, she starts to reflect on how much you were actually doing. And most importantly, how you made her feel valued, secure, cared for. Here's where the hard truth comes in. If she's only ever known you as the guy who's always giving, who's always around, she never had to appreciate you in the first place. You were a given. But once you disappear, she wakes up. And the first thing she notices is how much she relied on you without realizing it. That's when she starts missing you. Not because you're just another guy who shows up, but because you were the one who gave her that sense of stability, confidence, and security. And the best part, she'll never fully understand what she had until she realizes it's gone. Let's get real for a second. Her mind doesn't miss you because you're gone. It misses you because the emotional space you left behind forces her to confront her feelings. This isn't just about you stepping away physically. This is about you creating emotional distance. And that's what really messes with her head. When you're constantly in the picture, filling her emotional space with reassurance, validation, and constant attention, it's easy for her to take your presence for granted. But when you stop doing that, her mind has nowhere to go but inside herself. She has to process her own emotions without the constant distraction of your attention. And here's the kicker. That emotional space you've left behind, it triggers her thoughts, her reflection, and her need to fill the void with something real. She starts wondering, wait, did I take him for granted? Was he really that good to me? Why do I feel unsettled now that he's not here? The absence you create isn't physical, it's emotional. You're no longer there to fill her emotional cup. You're not chasing her down with sweet words or affectionate gestures. And she can feel that absence in every conversation, every moment of silence, and every quiet day without you. But here's the deeper truth. This emotional space isn't just uncomfortable, it's revealing. It reveals to her that her feelings for you were always more complex than she realized. She may have ignored it, brushed it off, or even convinced herself that she didn't need you around. But once that space is there, once she has no choice but to feel it, the floodgates open. She starts to miss what you brought to her life, your attention, your perspective, your energy. Not just your company, but the way you made her feel emotionally grounded and secure. If you've created this emotional absence, don't be surprised when she starts feeling all kinds of things she wasn't before. Because the absence of you isn't the absence of attention, it's the absence of the emotional impact you gave her. And that's what really makes her miss you. Here's the final truth you need to understand. A woman misses you not just for who you are, but because of what you represent. And what you represent isn't just another predictable guy who's always around. You represent something she can't easily figure out. You represent mystery, challenge, and excitement. When you give her everything too soon, when you're always available, when you're too easy to read, you become part of the background noise. But when you pull away, when you stop showing all your cards, you become interesting again. It's human nature. People are drawn to what they can't easily control or predict. When you're always there, always on her terms, she knows what to expect. She knows how to get your attention, how to make you react, how to get validation. And that makes you boring. It makes the chase disappear. It kills the intrigue. But the moment you step back and create that emotional distance, you suddenly become a challenge again. She has to wonder about you. She has to think about what you're doing, who you're talking to, why you're not texting. And that's exactly when her interest spikes. Why? Because human beings are wired to chase what's elusive. We want what we can't easily obtain. And when you pull back, you take away that easy access she's used to. Now, instead of knowing you'll always be there, she has to work to get your attention. And that challenge, that makes you irresistible. You see, a woman doesn't just miss the version of you that was always present. She misses the version of you that wasn't so predictable. The version of you who wasn't always available, who made her wonder what you were up to, who didn't constantly validate her existence. That's the power of creating distance. You've taken away the safety net she took for granted, and now she's left trying to figure out how to win you back. And that's when she starts to miss you for real. Don't be afraid to be the man who's not always there. Be the man who represents a challenge, a mystery, and an intrigue, because that's the version of you that she'll always want to chase. Let's be brutally honest. If you're always there, always chasing, always trying to keep her attention, she's never going to miss you. You're making yourself too available, too predictable, and too easy to forget. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, but isn't it just about showing her that you care? No. It's about showing her that you're a man who has options, a man who values his own time and energy. You can't expect her to chase you if you're constantly handing her everything on a silver platter. The mystery, the challenge, the space you create, it's vital for her to start truly missing you. I've seen it time and time again. Men who make themselves too accessible, and the moment they pull away, they start seeing the magic happen. Don't be afraid to leave her wondering. Don't be afraid to step back and see what happens. Now, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell me about your experience. When did you notice a woman miss you after you created distance? Or maybe you've been doing things wrong and didn't realize it until now. I'll be reading your responses and reaching out because I'm here to help you level up your game, connect with you, and learn from your experiences. Let's build something real.